Morning, Terry. Good morning, Gerald. We are live. We are live on social media. Good morning, everybody. Please share the space. I'm Monday Jane, and we are getting there. I'm just getting organised. I think I've just come out of a meeting, and it is. Can you believe it's a full moon today? Monday, the 27th of October. November. Wish it was October, although we wouldn't have Christmas in 4 weeks, would we? So let me just make sure, if you know somebody that's meant to be here, share that space. Make sure that they know where it is, because very often we have a look if we are still open. Are we allowing? Yeah, we've got replays on. That's good. Let me go and find a chew. See if I can find him. There we go. Might be able to find the space. And let's see. There we go. There's another. There we are. We'll get going in just a minute. Bear with me, because we've got some people to tell. I know that there were some struggles to find the room just the other day, so we will give people just enough time, because it's not easy. This clubhouse hallways are not easy now. I couldn't even manage to find my own room the other day. Couldn't even find my own club the other day. I'm not that good. So we're going to get going in just a couple of minutes. But hang on, actually, while I'm here, I'll grab a quick drink. Thank you for bearing with me, people. Just made a coffee between my morning meeting and this room, and I do so love my coffee, particularly this coffee. There's a story to be told there, but that's another day and another story for another day. I'm afraid I haven't got time for that today. But let's just see a show of hands or an emoji for those of you that actually already drink that coffee. I think there might be one or two of you. Certainly, I know I can see one of you who, if you show me a heart or something, I know you drink that coffee. James, are you around? I don't think he can see me. Maybe he's riding on his bike. Who knows? But that coffee is the healthy coffee that I drink, courtesy of Pete and Dr. Bob. Actually, Dr. Bob is a functional medicine doctor. I just thought, whilst we were helping people come in, because I can't see Jew either this morning. I'm not sure where people are. Please share. Dr. Bob is a functional medicine doctor that's helped me understand the power of this healthy coffee, and I also use his stress drops. Which I will also deal with. Not sure where all of my co-hosts are this morning, Monday morning, on this full moon. The full moon's at 9 a.m. Interesting. We've got another full moon. It feels like we've had about 42 full moons in the last month. Anyway, another week, another Monday, and it's not 6 now. It's 4 minutes past 6, so I will get on with it. I like to get going by 5 past, and we are over on LinkedIn at 7 o'clock, of course. So I wondered yesterday what to speak about this morning. And the first thing that came to my mind was Christmas. Christmas. And that provided me with, well, only what I can say, good morning, is an existential crisis of a magnitude that I've not experienced that often. So yesterday, I spent pretty much my whole afternoon going through what I can only describe as an existential crisis. And it's led me to, good morning, to the entire of this week's contribution and my social media presence this week. Good morning, good morning. We are all arriving. Oh, somebody else is up here, I think. There we are. Good morning, good morning. Let me just make you a moderator. I think we've got a bit of a glitch with the algorithm this morning. That's better. Good morning. Okay. We can get going now. Good morning, Jew. You all right? Oh, there's an Alexia. Now we're all up.
Mate.
Good morning. I'm not muted, no. Can you not hear me?
Have you been getting into mischief?
Who's that?
It's Alexia. I said, have you been getting into mischief? You said you had a crisis
I
yesterday.
did. Well, I just I had an existential crisis, working out what the hell I was going to talk about this morning, interestingly enough. And it led to an entire afternoon of discombobulation, but I'm going to get onto that in a minute. Stu, are you there? Good morning, my love. He's not there. Can he unmute? This is the question of the day. He can!
I can.
You can. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Have you had your healthy coffee?
No.
I have. But you can tell, can't you? Good. Well, I hope you get it in a bit. Have you got some mocha?
I've got everything, but I do not trust them to make it.
No.
Night stuff.
You see, for those that don't know, Ju's in a facility in near Rugby in Warwickshire for older people, and he's not an older person. Are you, Ju? And so the night staff aren't so good at making the gorgeous drinks that you have. They're not so good at much, are they? Let's be honest.
No.
They're good at keeping things safe, aren't they? Which is good. Yeah, so now that we've all kind of started together, then we can get on. James is here. I'll just say good morning. Good morning, James. You all right?
Good morning, MJ. Yeah,
Good morning.
I'm good. I was a little bit untidy last week, and I forgot to order the journal, so I'm on basic paper notes this week.
Ugh.
But I have a beautiful message that is about to arrive, so I'm sure that the wonderful postal service will eventually get it here, as it is a parcel and not a letter, so I'm sure it'll be sharpishly at my door, which will be wonderful.
Can't wait.
And and I'm having a beautiful cup of coffee, a nice green mug this morning.
I've got 2 flasks
Cheers.
ready for my day. Cheers, cheers, cheers. So, yeah, if you want to know the power of healthy coffee, let somebody know in this room, and you're welcome to let me know. I will talk about it all day, I'm afraid. At one point, I wasn't sure whether I'd ever learn about its magnitude, but I really feel now that I've got a handle on what it does and why it does it. And actually, before I get going, let me just say that something I found out when I was explaining it to somebody else last weekend was that this coffee that we drink, that we're banging on about, is a coffee that's imbued with reishi. Reishi is a mushroom, the mushroom of everlasting life, is what they call it in the ancient places. I think it's Japan it comes from. It's either Japan or China, somewhere out there. It's ancient Chinese, I think, medicine. It's the reishi mushroom, and that mushroom is it's a powerful adaptogen. And what it does when tackling cancer is that cancer cells try and hide themselves from the immune system as they become malformed, and reishi makes them show themselves. So reishi goes to those cells and says, no, I'm indicating you to the immune system, and then it sends the immune system to kill those cells. And if they don't kill the cell completely, then the reishi adaptogen goes to the dying cancer cell and gives it a gun and tells it to shoot itself. So I love the fact that reishi is like some sort of hitman for cancer and erroneous cells. So every day we make cells that go wrong, and every day our immune system eradicates them. What reishi does is it supports that immune system eradication. And of course, Pete Cohen's wife, Hannah, lived beyond 10 years with stage 4 brain cancer, and she took the spores that I take every hour on the hour, and I do the same. And I have multiple organ failure. I have lived now for 2 years since them telling me I wouldn't be continuing to exist, and I think I'm probably the healthiest I've ever been. But that's my experience. And if ever you want a coffee, you don't forget to drink the coffee, right? I just don't. I don't forget to drink the coffee. I don't forget to make a cup of tea. I certainly can't forget when I'm making a hot chocolate for the kids. And the chocolate really is just amazing. And of course, I wouldn't have been hand cycling a marathon and maybe somebody can pop that link up. I don't know whether they can, but if they can, they can. Yeah, I was hand cycling in marathon.
MJ.
Sorry, darling.
One other thing it's done, MJ,
Yeah.
is there's a little four-legged friend here that kicks off if she doesn't get a drop of coffee in the morning.
Well, I'm not
And
surprised.
you've seen what her fur used to look like.
That's right. She used to pull all of her fur out. It's great for animals. It's absolutely.
Yeah.
The research for animals is outstanding. But then what it shows in research for animals as well, Alexia, is that in mice, if we extrapolate the extent, the length of life that getting mice and actually little worms to consume reishi has done, it would extend our lives by 17 years. So if you extrapolate what it's done to the length of a mouse life, that's what it does to humans. 17 years. So I'm going to live, or at least some more anyway than I would have done. So there we are. Right, well, it's 10 past. We haven't even got going yet. What we like. So it is not 6 o'clock. It's nearly 1:15 now. And as I said, I was wondering what to speak about this morning, and it wasn't coffee. That isn't what I was going to talk about, believe me. Although I will always talk reishi. And I don't just take the reishi. I take a coffee that has 3 mushrooms in it. If you want to know, I'll stop talking about mushrooms now. Let me know. So this existential crisis of not knowing what the heck I was going to talk about this week led me to this week. So I was thinking about this last night. I have practiced relentlessness when writing these Clubhouse rooms. I've become more resilient to writing assignments. And my progress through the course, because I'm doing a degree in social work, is just so much more effective than previously when I've studied. Because, well, practice makes progress, right? So, in fact, what they say is that writing is a muscle, don't they? And that when we practice writing, then it flows. You get that flow that writers talk about. A stream of consciousness is what they talk about. And I believe that achieving flow state is practice and not just, it's not about brilliance, it's about practice. So that leads me on to the subject matter which I have selected today. And so that you know, we are live on social media all over the place. I'll not go into detail, but everywhere except Instagram right now. But I've just learned how to do that as well. So that'll be streamed next week. So, a stream of consciousness. I became discombobulated about this week. And for anyone that's listening now, that was listening last week, we were also on social media and in Clubhouse talking about the power of Om and meditation. And these rooms can be replayed. If you don't know how, ask somebody here to explain, or give me a DM, message me on the back channel, or leave me a voice note on here. And if you want to listen back over our back catalogue, you can. There's an entire, it's over a year there, a year and a half. And I've been looking back on the back catalogue, and it's interesting just how many people do go and re-listen to those rooms. I think there's gold in those rooms there. In fact, there's a meditation in there. So if I was you, I'd go back and replay last week's Monday for the power of Om. This was something actually that I'd been asked to do a couple of years ago by Janetta Barry. For World Jenny's Day, which I hosted. Jenny, unfortunately, age 16, took her life, and Janetta runs World Jenny's Day, and she asked me to do a meditation for World Jenny's Day, and you'll find this on Clubhouse as well. But I balked because I was just far too scared back then, and I had a listen actually to myself on World Jenny's Day way back 2.5 years ago. And I was incredibly nervous, but it was the first time that I sang publicly on Clubhouse. So I stepped out of my comfort zone. And although I balked at doing a meditation, we were stuck for 20 minutes. And there was somebody didn't come on stage and didn't come into the room. And there were a lot of very, very, very good people there, very powerful people. And I didn't want to keep them without anything going on. And somebody asked me if I'd sing a song, and I did. So why did I balk when in the last 2 years, what's changed? Well, I think that I've actively worked. Well, I've actively begun working on my mindset, my workfulness, my consistency, and my capacity to improve. And it was only this morning when I was doing a Les Brown and a Napoleon Hill and a number of other great leaders. I was looking in the mirror and I was deeply staring into my eyes and telling myself what was going to happen this week. My capacity to improve is the only point. In fact, when looking back on the rooms and listening to myself and wondering how embarrassing I'm feeling, how embarrassed it is to listen back, or how difficult it is, or what people thought, really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It is only my capacity to improve that is of any interest. In fact, it is not even the outcome that's important, it's the process. And many of us in this room have already been working with a coach, or I indeed am their coach, or for some of you in the room, I may be becoming your coach. Coaching is part of my business. I'm a teacher, a psychotherapist. I'm a Senko, an Elenco in Wales. That's a special educational needs and disability coordinator. I'm part of the process of supporting access to work, and access to work have received, well, they told me last week, unprecedented applications. So we're often coaching for some 16 weeks before they actually show up. So if you're disabled or you know someone and they're considering workfulness, and maybe they saw the budget, this UK government have definitely pinned their colours to the mast about disabled people and work. But I mean, we all do have a right to work, yeah? But equally, the workplace needs to be fit for purpose. It needs to be welcoming and accommodating. And that is not my experience. And neither is it the experience of many others. And for some people, come on now, some people are not fit for work. They can't be made fit for work. And they need to be supported for the foreseeable. I honestly believe that's the hallmark of an advanced community, is when the community cares for itself. So I got to think about all this all day because I was in that state of flux, right? Really discombobulated to an extreme. Processing, not creating the outcome I wanted. So discombobulated that I looked to see when the full moon was. And of course, it's today. Because when I feel that way, I really do feel that the moon has something to do with it. They say that the moon, or we know, moves the tide, and we're 90% water. So is there any wonder that I was in that state of flux? So when I'm reflecting on this again, and I am, it's not just the doing that creates the happenings. How do I increase resilience? Because that's the point of the room. How do I increase resilience? Hey, morning. It's the imagined processing of the idea, the whole process, from my conceptualization to the completion. And in this last year, my output has been increasing, as has my staff team, in fairness. So it's not just about creating or increasing resilience through productivity, but my consistency is improving in every way, and in every day it is, but in every way. Even when I don't feel like it yesterday, or when I can't seem to see my progress. Just as an example, actually, I was looking at this room size, and we're quite intimate this morning over the last few weeks. And it could be a confidence knocker, right? It could. I'm quite sure that if you open a room and 140 people walk in, it must be quite, I don't know, empowering. Might be terrifying as well. We've been there. I wasn't that scared, to be honest. But in reality, in this last few weeks, I haven't been able to be as consistent or as repetitive as in the last 2 years. These rooms have not been here every day. But however, as I've mentioned before, it's the process in the here and now, not the outcome, that should be celebrated. The outcome is, in fact, almost an aside. It's almost an aside. So the process of this weekend was a challenging one. And when I reflect on my challenges, I do recognise that I was out late on Friday evening. And that's very likely over the next month or so that that's going to be the case. But I notice that I've approached this weekend with a different attitude to that struggle. I've struggled to maintain focus over the weekend, to concentrate and to gain output on my intentions. But as I couldn't concentrate on what I wished, because I couldn't, my brain was just discombobulated and kept screaming at me, I switched my task to another that my brain would focus on. I mean, and would you believe that technique's called task switching? Whoever knew, yay. But it's known to maintain interest, to increase productivity, and to maintain attention at hand, attention on the task at hand. And I've been doing this all my life without realizing it. This is just one strategy I want to share out today as we approach the issue of the week, which of course is how do we increase resilience and aid productivity. For those that listen on replay, I'm Mandy Jane Lace. I'm a coach. I think the best kind of coach, because I work with the sick and disabled, the mentally, physically and emotionally challenged people. If you're ill or you know someone with a disability who doesn't know how to access what they're entitled to through, well, many areas, but particularly the Access to Work scheme, accessibility partners, and more holistically through inclusion, which as a matter of interest, that's running tonight at 7:00 on Clubhouse in the Inclusion House. Maybe somebody could pop a link in the chat. If they can't, I understand. So 7:00, yeah, we're going to be discussing all things access to work tonight. And I know that Bob wants to come along and he's not able to this week, but we should look forward to seeing everyone that is coming along tonight. It's exciting. As we work through all things resilience and inclusion, both here on Clubhouse at 7 and then at 7:30 on our Zoom channel. So we're talking resilience. We just got here at 6:20 and we got onto the subject. That was a long intro, wasn't it? So what is resilience, and how, when I'm feeling like I did at the weekend, can I increase it? Well, resilience, it's our ability to recover, to recover effectively and speedily from difficulties, or make changes when there's adversity or tragedy or trauma or threats or just feeling discombobulated. Any significant source of stress. So resilience is our ability to recover. It's also called that bouncing back, isn't it? Oh, look at her. She bounced back. Doesn't matter what happens. She bounced back. It's MJ. She always bounces back. But for me, it's definitely more about the adaptation. Resilience is just not a single quality. It isn't. It's a combination of traits and skills. We have to be multidimensional when we become resilient or more resilient. It needs to include, in my humble opinion, our emotional regulation, which I use Dr. Bob's stress drops for. It actually holds GABA. It has within it, I'm going to tell you, it has GABA, theanine, leaf balm, mint, lemon, bergamot, but methylated B12. You should really talk to me about it if you feel that emotional regulation is a thing, and it is in ADHD and AS, and I am neurodivergent. In fact, I used this. I used ChatGTP the other day and used Dr. Bob's bottle. Took a picture of it in I've forgotten the name of it now, but if you go to ChatGTP, there's an image assessor. You can take a picture of it, put a circle around the thing you wanted to talk about, and then ask what's in it and what benefits you can expect from it. And I'm happy to go through those benefits with you. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, emotional regulation, important that we can think clearly whilst managing our emotions, bringing our focus, labeling the emotions. I label the emotions. I don't deeply dive into them. I label them. I am feeling discombobulated. What is happening? I inquire after. But emotional regulation isn't easy if you don't have the hormonal balance to achieve that calm state of mind. Of course, what we did last week, meditation, as I've suggested you go back, that has aided my emotional regulation because it's practice making progress. We also, I think, for a multidimensional approach to increasing resilience, we need to remain optimistic. Now, to be optimistic needs to have a state of mind where we're, relatively okay about the future. I think optimism comes from working, from doing the do, from keeping on, not so much the outcomes, but keeping on. Because what I realized as I was slip sliding this morning into the morning, and it felt like that. I really felt like I was gaining my footing again. Is that hopefulness that we will be back to wherever it was we were, that state of flow, that there is always a hope that that's going to come, that these darker times will definitely lift. There's always a rainbow beyond the rain, that optimism. And I really do hold that optimism on account of the fact that, well, it never does last, does it? This too will pass. Whatever is happening, change is inevitable. So optimism, fostering optimism. So we're just describing what resilience is. And we say that I think that to create resilience, increase resilience, we need to be multidimensional. That isn't just about us bouncing back. It's also about adapting. And adapting is part of bouncing back, isn't it? With that emotional regulation and optimism. We need to be flexible then, right? So flexibility. Remaining flexible in a state of discombobulation is difficult, because I definitely want guarantees at that time. I want to feel safe. I want people to tell me that they're definitely doing what they're going to do, and they're going to do it now, and we're going to do it at that. Well, that just doesn't work. I need to be flexible. I have to be able to listen to my innermost musings, and that's where meditation is so helpful. Because it's difficult to listen to our inner voice, to the voice our mind is expressing, unless we are calm, emotionally regulated, and optimistic. That requires then flexibility to listen to that voice and maybe flex, yeah? Maybe change what's happening if a better idea comes up. It's being able to trust that still small voice, I think, because that leads to problem solving. The flexibility to apply a different strategy to achieve a different outcome. And really important for this week for me, in this discombobulated state, in this moving into December, into this Christmas period, which is definitely where my challenge is being experienced, because I'm aware of some of the mistakes that Christmas and I have embarked on together. And so I think I am going to be seeking the support of those around me that I love and who love me, because my emotional regulation, with my optimism that I am progressively moving towards a Christmas where I make choices that are mine and not those ones that I've been conned into by the influences of the outside, all those competing voices. I remain flexible with myself, accepting that Christmas is not going to be the same and that change is inevitable, and there's lots of different places I'm going. And so that flexibility to problem solve when I am in the moment, without maybe the equipment that I need or my NutriBullet or whatever it is that I do, because I juice every morning. Well, I don't. A NutriBullet, it's the same thing, but you get all the fiber. And of course, over this period, the ability to seek support, ask people for help. So we know then that resilience is a dynamic process. We know that. We know we need to be multidimensional. It changes over time, though. And it's influenced by our environment, isn't it? Our personal experiences, and of course, our developmental stages, whether we're in midlife, whether we're at the beginning, whether we're in that third age. And, some people would look and go, oh, MJ, she's resilient. She's born that way, wasn't she? She was born resilient, that one. Nah. I think that we can have a resilient demeanour. I think it comes from a difficult birth, to be honest. But I honestly believe that it's a set of skills and responses that need to be learned and developed, a craft that can be developed. I think it's through our experiences, but also our conscious effort. You build resilience slowly, like building a wall. Those layers don't really seem to go very high when you first start layering them, but they soon mount up. Resilience is more than enduring. It's more than merely surviving. It's easy, I think, to tread water, or it's easy to get to a point where we're treading water and we don't realize that that positive growth isn't happening. Transformation happens as a result of facing adversity, because that encourages positive adaptation. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So it's not about enduring just. It's not about surviving. It's about pushing through to create that transformation. And of course, it can depend on the context, can't it? Or the stress or the challenge. This weekend wasn't really a stressor, was it? I was fighting myself. Hang on a minute. To be honest, all those external stressors, they are the least of my worries. I am my biggest enemy. I am my biggest enemy. Because even though this weekend there wasn't a particular stressor, my brain was telling me that I definitely couldn't do what I wanted to do again and again and again, as it distracted me, and was just emotionally on a roller coaster. You know, there wasn't really a stressor this weekend, but the stressor was in my mind, and it was the biggest one there. And for that, this weekend, my social support systems and my relationships were crucial in that resilience. Even when I spoke to people and they didn't know that I was, I was challenged. Maybe they did. I didn't particularly out loud say it to everybody, but I think, it was quite obvious that that connection was important, because it gave me the emotional support. And also there were some people that I called on for actual practical help. I had a meeting with one of my PAs yesterday online, my physical helper at home, my support assistant, and I had a meeting with her and her husband online to ask for some practical assistance this week. That fosters a sense of belonging. And of course, on Saturday, we will be talking about this in Belonging in Business on LinkedIn. And we'll be going across in half an hour now to LinkedIn as a little practice before Saturday, and to see Pete Cohen, where he'll be talking about all things mindset on this Monday. And we're talking mindset, aren't we? I think, though, that this environment also fosters a sense of belonging. We can talk to each other. We can communicate. We can text. It's great to see you communicating with each other. I think that's something that LinkedIn lacks, and it can feel quite cold over there. So I think a little bit of both. Never hurt anybody. So those social systems, those friendships, those colleagues, important this weekend as I managed and dealt with bobbing on the sea of discombobulation. I have forever, since the day Dot brought various strays home when I was young. I remember going to a swimming pool once, and which I did lots. I still do, of course, downstairs now. And there was a dog, and it was on the way in. It was there, and when I came out, it was there. And funnily enough, I had a bag of crisps, and you can imagine that dog was very keen on following me. I was determined that I was going to take that dog home, and I did. Now, my mum made me take it to the police, and it found its home back, and but that dog wasn't lost. I helped it find its way, even though it might have been a long way around with a bag of crisps and all the way home. It might not be the best way of supporting someone, but I've supported other, not just animals, people. And to do that, I have to help develop resilience skills. And for that, I teach coping strategies like these, how to foster our supportive relationships, who to reach out to, how to reach out, so that we create our own environment to encourage that growth and recovery from difficulties, like I did this weekend. Lots and lots of fruit, vegetables, good food, safe in my home, warm, feeling comfortable. I can manage that discombobulation until I move through it and recover from those difficulties. That is, of course, what we said resilience is. So resilience is fostered through action. It's a doing word. It's a verb. Let's do resilience. Let's not just be resilient. Let's do resilience. We increase our resilience every day, just like you are on this Monday, by consistently, effortfully bringing yourself into this room. And I am grateful. Hey, it's good to see some new faces. I am so grateful that you showed up here for yourself today, because you make the difference here. And for that, I am so grateful. I don't think anyone understands that when you are here as a member of the audience or up on the stage, whether you're contributing out loud or whether it's just in your heart, you make the difference here. And for that, I am so grateful. So we've just got half an hour. I will just summarize where we've been for those that didn't make it until now. So we've been talking about resilience, and I got discombobulated at the weekend. I wasn't sure what to talk about, and I spent the whole weekend self-caring and managing my own mindset. And I think that in order to increase my my resilience, I had to become more consistent. It's what I do as a coach. I help people who are disabled become more consistent, but also to reach out and connect them with the people, those that know who and what and how to navigate the very difficult world of being disabled. It's not just the doing that creates our happenings. It's not just that. It's the imaginings too. It's the whole process. It's from the moment that I start thinking about something, like last week, meditation. If you haven't listened to the meditation, please do go back. This weekend was challenging, and I struggled to maintain focus. It was difficult to see what to concentrate on. I had to use task switching to be able to stay, purposeful. And it brought me to the subject of resilience, because 2 years ago I was in a hospital bed, 2.5. I had died during COVID. I was only able to transfer from the bed to the commode, and I had to work out how I was going to increase my resilience. I believe resilience is our ability to recover, and I have recovered. I am recovering. I am recovering from multiple organ failure. I'm recovering from dying 3 times, but I'll tell you what I'm recovering more from. I'm recovering from my own state of mind. My ability to recover from adversity and trauma and tragedy and threats has been, my bounce back ability has been developed. It doesn't just turn up. It turns up through repetitive emotional regulation, remaining emotionally stable, being optimistic, absolutely embracing flexibility, and actively solving my own problems alongside those that love and honor me, and I do too. That creates resilience. It's a dynamic process, and it is definitely impacted by our environment. Be careful where you play. Purposeful play requires practical positioning. Our personal experience, the places that we're in, and what developmental stage we're in. Do not disregard Erikson's theories, the life course approach. Do not disregard where you are. Where you are and what you want at this stage is very important. And Erikson tells you every stage you're at. It's quite embarrassing, really, when you go, oh, look at me, being quite obvious and pretty much predictable. People seem like they're born resilient, but they're not. It's a set of skills and responses that needs to be learned and developed. It's a craft. It's through conscious effort that we build, increase resilience. It is more than surviving. It's thriving. And we need each other to do it. We are better together. It's fostered on action, collective action, collective action. So you make the difference. We make the difference. We are the difference. And I'm asking the question this morning, and we've only got 20 minutes. I have talked quite a long time and very patiently listened to me. So thank you. Are you resilient? What's made you more resilient? And what are you going to do to become even more resilient today? I'm going to take Dr. Bob's stress drops. I'm going to be drinking my Reishi coffee. I'm going to be drinking my smart water. I'm going to be progressing through my calendar, which is already planned for today. I'm going to remain awake as I process this next month and navigate this very difficult, I think, period of time as we move into what can only be described as a discombobulated time, because it's all changed. But I'm excited for Christmas. You know, this time last year, I set my stall at 100 entrepreneurs. Creating 100 disabled entrepreneurs and accessibility partners has smashed that target out of the ballpark by 50%. So never let it be said that when we set our intentions, if we apply these strategies, that we can't succeed in our aims, because I know that we can, because I'm resilient. And I'm fostering resilience right now, right here. And you are helping me foster resilience as you help me to keep crafting, keep honing my craft like this. So I'm very grateful to you. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you're resilient in this last quarter of an hour. Perfect timing. It's great to see everyone, especially the new people. Please click on each other's faces. Say hi. We have some very important people in this room. I'm going to add you back now because I said that and then I didn't. Oh, we lost a David. So I will move to an Alexia. How are you? You feeling resilient?
Again, everyone say, yeah, of course I'm resilient. I think it must be something in the air, mate, because I had one of those days yesterday when I was writing my blog for today. So I think this is just a personal opinion, just to remind people that everything you have comes from this planet. How do we make a difference? We're hearing, seeing practically every advert we have right now is, can you help this organisation? Can you help that organisation? Can you do this for somebody else? Here's something you can do for you right now, right this minute, is respect this planet. Because it's everything you have, from the air you breathe, to the food you put in your mouth, to the clothes you put on your back, comes from some source of this planet. So if you can't afford to do something in money terms, and I've gone from being pretty wealthy to absolutely nothing in the bank, and just imagine that happening overnight, and then being told by somebody in the medical profession that I was lazy. I was determined to turn my life around. I met MJ on Clubhouse 2 years ago in a room that Pete Cohen was running. And MJ could hardly speak, never mind go and do a marathon. And yes, I'm proud to say I was with MJ when she did that marathon. And it was amazing. I made her go a bit green round the gills when my mobility scooter decided it had enough when it stopped. And I went and got her backup handbike. And then I scared myself because I realised if anybody has ridden an old bike from many years ago, you didn't have brakes in the traditional sense where you squeeze them with your fingers. You had to back pedal. So we're doing this in life all the time. We back pedal to see where we're going. But what you can't do is you can't change your past. You can change what you do right now, right this minute. You can make an effort to help yourself by doing love and kindness. Meditation is one of the most powerful things you can do. But if you want to do something that's even more powerful than meditation, get outside even on the coldest days and go and show this planet some love and respect. I've always been disabled all my life, but until I met MJ, and it took some pushing, didn't it, mate, to make me realise I was disabled. I think, this is just a personal opinion, we need to remind our MPs that not everybody is capable of doing something. But just how many disabled people out there are running their own businesses? I was an ex-nurse. I'm severely dyslexic and still manage to be a nurse, and MJ knows how severe my dyslexia is. I'm a published author. I write as a job now. I hated picking pen up to paper. It scared the life out of me because of an experience in my life. Drew will tell you his own story, but let's say Drew's job was making the rest of us kept safe. He was in the forces. Now he's in a nursing home in his 40s. He's still doing things. He's in these rooms. He comes in to Sharon's rooms every day to support Sharon. And he hasn't let life just stop. I've met so many people like that through MJ. So whatever that challenge is for you, the thing I've learned, if nothing else, excuse my language, but if it scares the hell out of you, that's probably the one thing you need to do. But it's Christmas time. Before you go out and buy your Christmas presents, please think about what you're going to do with what you've got, what you're going to get rid of. I'm finding more rubbish on the street and I'm finding it harder to walk. It's becoming painful for me, and I'm going to admit it. It's hell on wheels. You can all help. If you see somebody's dumped something that needs to be recycled, needs to go to the tip, 90% of you are car drivers. Don't go past it. Pick it up, put it in your car, take it to the tip. If everybody does that, or if it's a small thing, puts it in that bin, that will change how everybody feels. So I just finished with sending love and kindness to all of you, and have an absolutely fantastic week. And I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Alexia. You know, I'm grateful to you every day, because every time I see something that needs collecting or dealing with or sorting out in the street, it's you I think of. And as soon as I see it, I think of you. People say it of me, and then they see something to do with disability and they think of me. I think of the earth and I think of you. I'm so grateful that I've been able to help walk alongside you metaphorically on that journey. And yes, I'm going to feed into that the fact that you are absolutely very, very affected by your learning difference. Means that when you were at school, no doubt, it wasn't an easy way for you to learn. And so I hope that what we've managed to start creating is that environment we talk about where resilience can be fostered, because I think that with the support mechanisms you've got around you and the changes that we're making in as far as how you move through the world and the access to a personal mobility device, you're working from home but having somebody to be held accountable to and to work alongside, and somebody that can help navigate the screen with you at times when it's more difficult. I think that's how fostering resilience can work, because your environment now is a place that we can foster that resilience, where you can improve and you can move into those areas like writing that you were so terrified of. University, something that you always wanted but didn't actually feel you'd ever get to, and yet here you are doing it, smashing it out the ballpark. You know, you passed last year and now you're on to your second year. It seems it gives me goosebumps when I think about your story. And the fact that you're here watching my journey and this journey and Inclusion's journey into what is just the greatest tomorrow. As much as what the government are doing is crass and unacceptable and disgraceful, the truth is that they have to do something. Now, I never expected the UK government to do it eloquently or with finesse, because it's just not what they are. However, there has to be a state of change. This change is not what we wanted, but we knew change was coming. I've been predicting this change for the last 2 years. I said to people, and I'll say it again, if you are disabled in the UK and you are not engaging in some form of workfulness, that might be an hour a week. When the government say they want people to engage, they don't mean we want you to go to work for 40 hours a week in a factory without any help. Although they said it in a very crass and difficult way, in a way that wasn't necessary, because we need to encourage and not use a stick. An hour a week. I believe that if disabled people are given the environment to start to imagine who and what and how they are, what they want to be when they grow up, which is the question I ask everybody, including my 78-year-old client. What do you want to be when you grow up? And what he wants to be when he grows up is he wants to have a health shop and speak about his experiences, and now he is doing. But you need to foster that environment. I think when we do, then we can start to dream. And when we start to dream and imagine, we can start to find out what it is our raison d'etre is. What's our reason for living? What makes us, what fosters our resilience, what makes us motivated. And that's what I believe the UK government need to do, is foster that sense of belonging amongst disabled people, as then they can share together and show each other how it is possible, just like me and Alexia have been doing for over a year now, showing each other how it is possible and seeing each other reflected in each other, so then we could see possibility within the other. Jude, good morning. We've only got 8 minutes and there's 2 of you left. Goodness me. Good morning. Not sure you can unmute, but if you can't, James, either. Oh, Jude's done it.
Oh, good morning, Jude.
Hey up. We've got a bit of a... There we go.
Good morning.
Again.
Done it twice now. God.
You'll be resilient in a minute, Jude.
Well, being resilient, I want to know how, when I entered this home as nearly 19 stone person, I lost 6 stone of my own volition, without anybody deciding anything apart from me. How come all of a sudden they decided I can't have a caramel chocolate biscuit because it'll take my BMI too high? Now, they're saying I'm fat. I'm saying that's absolute bollocks. I looked the best I've looked in years.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Do you think that their decision about your BMI is more about their hoisting of you and movement of you, and less about your BMI?
Sorry, missed that.
I said, do you think it's more about them having to move you now and hoist you than it is about your BMI and your health? Because I do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They don't have to do that much lifting, do they, Ju? Because 90% of it's done by equipment. I'm a nurse. They roll you onto something to hoist you. They roll you off to get it off it.
That's right.
So, excuse my language. I agree with Ju. Don't like bad language, but it's bullshit.
They do need, really, if they're doing roll mats, they do need like 3 points of access around the bed. So obviously, if you was in a really well spaced out room, they would have an adequate space to house you in.
But we're not, you see, and there's the
I wouldn't
problem.
know, because I can't see what I'm looking at today.
Listen, I tell you what, it just shows, doesn't it, that actually when we're trying to create an environment for potential, that it's all subjective, because they're talking about their potential from their point of view, not your potential from your point of view. I think that's very important when it comes to disability, and why I think that I'm going to say it, accessibility partners and inclusion know what we're doing, because we work with people from where they're at, not where we think they should be. I am very grateful, Ju, for you sharing that, to be honest, because it gives me a point of thinking today about just how we frame the solutions that we provide for people, and then how that feels for them. Because I have quite a number of people to formulate a response to today for their, what we would think we could achieve with them. And actually, it's really important to keep that perspective from their perspective, keeping that person bang in the middle of that process, where I don't think that in that instance you have been. Thanks, Ju. Makes you resilient though, right?
Makes me bloody angry.
Yeah, and that fosters change, and then that fosters changing our situation, and then that fosters resilience. But it's not any easier knowing it could turn into something good for you right now. It doesn't feel good when you're in the mess in the middle, does it?
Because it's absolute crap.
Well, yeah, it's unnecessary, and it just obfuscates. It clouds the real issue, which is that we need you to be in a space that you can be hoisted appropriately. That's it, right?
I never have agreed with BMI bullshit.
Neither have I. So it just shows that we have to keep an eye on what we're buying into, because it's not even something to buy into, is it? It's not appropriate. My BMI shows that I'm overweight, and I am. But to my BMI, I think I'm fat. But it's just not true. I'm better than I have been for a long, long time. So it is all subjective. We are just a couple of minutes away of being even more resilient than we are already. It's great to have seen everybody this morning. It's nice to see Hassan and Swad. It's great to see Joe and David and Nicola and Frank and Matt and Louise and Merkel. Hey, hello. And Bob and Adam. Hey, it's lovely to see you. For those people that are seeing me this week, you know where I am. And you know when we're seeing each other. Those that aren't, just give us a shout. I know there's a couple of people that need to book in with me, and I am just it's great to have us all over the world. We're going over to LinkedIn now to go and crowd into the LinkedIn room in 1 minute at Pete Cohen's. And I'm not ignoring you, James, but I am going to close it there. I have some interviews to do today after that room, and I need to be promptly out of this flat. I'm very excited. You've been in MJ's house. We are back at 7:00 tonight in Inclusion. So look for the Inclusion House. The links are in some of the groups that we're part of. And then on Saturday, we're in LinkedIn, Belonging in Business Through Resilience, by increasing resilience. So I will see you over at LinkedIn. Thank you for being here. And if you want to know anything about what I've talked about this morning, just DM me and I will get somebody to give you some information. Take care, everybody. We've been increasing resilience. Let's go do it some more in Mindset Monday. See you later. Bye. and bye on here too. Oh, look at the lights. Take care. Oh, isn't that